And the flap involving the governor and Senator Loretta Weinberg was a big political story this week. Governor Christie told reporters on Wednesday that they ought to take a bat out on her because she was a hypocrite on pension double dipping. With us now for this week's edition of Inside Politics is David Redlosk of the Eagleton Institute of Politics. He joins us now from our Trenton newsroom. And David, welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
And you've polled the public on Governor Christie and what they think about him in some ways. But before we get to that, about this flap on Wednesday, where the governor said that to the media. He said, take a bat out on her in the media, he said. He told this to reporters. We then heard from Loretta Weinberg saying that this was a slight on battered women, to use that type of language. And we also heard this from the Senate President, Steve Sweeney, a Democrat also. Quote, enough is enough. Residents rightly expect more from people in public office than horribly inappropriate statements, embarrassing temper tantrums, and over-the-top bullying. It's time the governor started acting like a grown-up. Now, for the governor's part, of course, Michael Juniak, his press secretary, said this was all taken out of context. Well, you saw the headlines, and you may have even heard the sound. What did you make of it, David?
Well, I think in many respects it reinforces what people think about the governor. It reinforces it on both sides. The people who don't like him think he's a bully. They think he's stubborn and mean to some degree. The people that like him like the fact that he draws lines in the sand and says, this is what I think, this is what I believe, you know, no matter what you think. So it feeds the narrative about Governor Christie. At the same time, it could well be one of those points where it may have just been enough over the line to push things in a more negative view.
Well, you've done some polling on this, as I mentioned at the top of our conversation here. You found, as you just mentioned about the stubbornness, that in fact some of these numbers are going up. 62% were stubborn in a poll just released earlier this week, or last week rather. 42% back in August. That's a 20% jump. Bullying. You found that folks think he's a bully. 38% last week, your poll showed. Just 25% back in August 2010. And overall, on the positive side, you found strong leader. 52% thought that. That's above the 36% you found in August 2010. So I guess you take the good with the bad when you're somebody like the governor who sort of shoots from the lip, if you will, shoots from the hip.
You do indeed, and in fact what we're seeing is opinions on the governor continue to polarize. They continue to strengthen on both sides. So if you ask a Republican, you know, he's a strong leader, a smart, independent reformer, and if you ask a Democrat, he's a stubborn, arrogant, self-centered bully. Independents see themselves kind of in the middle. They see him as stubborn, but they like his leadership.
And where do you think the independents would fall in terms of this latest thing, or a guy like you who does polling wouldn't say so until you go out in the field?
Well, actually, I think this actually is the kind of thing that would turn people in the middle off, at least when they hear the sound bite. You know, again, maybe there's more to it, but what they'll hear is the sound bite, taking a bat. That doesn't sound so good.
Okay, and all right, David. Well, are you going out on the field? You're the only one that I know of that's out there polling on the governor's personality, if you will. I can tell you also he's taken some shots at you at some press conferences I've been at, Eagleton poll. But you're the only. Are you going to head back out in the field on this personality question?
Yeah, we're gonna keep this up. I think it's really important to understand how people are viewing the governor's personality. He's a, you know, just a major factor on the stage in this state, and I think it's an important part of what he is.
All right, David Redlosk, Eagleton poll. Thanks a lot for coming in. We do appreciate it.